Hey everybody, it's Dakota. I just wanted to drop this little heads up at the beginning of the episode. I was doing some editing. I'm actually currently editing this as we speak, and I noticed that Discord was having a few issues picking up Vixey's microphone during this session. Now, whether that was from a recording issue or if that was from like a voice monitoring issue in the settings, things like those happen. But I just wanted to give you guys a heads up before the video starts. There might be a few times where her microphone cuts out in the middle of her talking. We tried to adjust that as best as we could before the session started, but it's just a thing that tends to happen. So I just figured I'd give you guys that little heads up, and with that, we're gonna roll right into the show. This is where the cool podcast intro is supposed to go, but I forgot to finish it. Anyway, here's Scuffed as Fuck. Welcome to the Scuffed as Fuck podcast, the only place where one guy keeps surviving long enough to make this a franchise. I'm your host, Night Guard number 69 this week, aka Retro Coda, and with me today I have my co-host, the Cubic Guru, as well as our guest, the lovely Miss VivaVixey. Vixey, go ahead and give us a little bit about yourself.
Sure. My name is Vixey. I am a definitely not almost 30-year-old person. I have been, in terms of gaming, I have been gaming since, oh man, I want to say like 8 or 9 years old. My first game ever was Spyro on the PS2, shout out. And I love horror games. I love storytelling games. So this is a really great episode for me to talk about because I literally could lord up this all day long.
Let's go.
Yes. Speaking of which, today's episode is all about FNAF, Five Nights at Freddy's and mascot horror, which I don't know about you, Cubic, but I have next to no experience with. Like, I watched, of course, Markiplier play it, like, growing up. So that's kind of the baseline knowledge I have of it. But in terms of actually playing the games or, like, seeing any of the characters, I couldn't tell you who's who.
Yeah, it's interesting for me because I heavily followed it to a certain point and then I kind of fell off from it. So I'm curious to see what Vixey has to say about the lore.
Oh my gosh.
So what was your first experience with FNAF, I guess, Vix?
My first experience was never actually playing it. I only ever started playing it for myself when I believe it was the Pizzeria Simulator one came out. And originally I had actually, I feel like a lot of people got into it because of Markiplier. Like, Markiplier started playing it, and, it was like one of those things, like, I remember, like, I'd come home, do my homework, and then be like, all right, well, time to fuck around on YouTube. And, I'd land on a Markiplier video of him playing Five Nights at Freddy's. And I don't know, there was something so, it was like, at the beginning, it was the lack of lore. Like, there was just nothing. Like, it was just so, like, this nostalgic feeling game, like, for me. Like, I grew up in the 90s. I know, like, the weird, like, I've always been freaked out by, like, the weird animatronics at, like, Chuck E. Cheese. And
Oh my god, those things are terrifying.
Yeah. So when I saw a game where they actually, like, made it a horror game, I'm like, why has nobody ever done this? Like, this is terrifying, and it's so good, but it's so fun to watch at the same time. Like, it's not so scary you don't want to play it, if that makes sense.
Right.
But that was kind of my, I guess, like, entry point.
I feel like that was a lot of people's entry point, was watching Markiplier play it. Markiplier's been around for years and years, and I think a lot of games have, I wouldn't necessarily go as far to say they owe it to him, but I would definitely say a lot of games have gained increased publicity because of YouTubers like him playing through them, Like, I don't think Five Nights at Freddy's would have been as big as it was if not for people like him or like Jack,
Yeah, I think initially Markiplier and PewDiePie was really who got it out to a broader audience. I think because they did that with a couple of games, and I think how Five Nights at Freddy's shines, unlike some other games that happened with those two, is like Vixey said, it kind of resonates with people's childhoods and that deep-rooted fear that comes from the Chuck E. Cheese animatronics or like the Showbiz Pizza stuff, you know. So it's cool that it needed that little like PR boost from big YouTubers.
It was just like it's like just a crumb of nostalgia. Like that's really what like got me into it.
Yeah.
But I've gone as far as like I've read all the books. Like I took a step from because I'm a reader anyways. So when I found out there were books and that they were also like, you know, Scott's name was on them, and I was like, oh my god, like this is like actual lore. So actually like reading the books and stuff and then looking at the games, it was just really cool. Like I don't know, it was really really neat to put everything together, but also see like know what's going on quote unquote off screen in the world. Yeah.
Okay. Do you find that the book's lore is more compelling or the game's lore?
So I think that the book's lore, especially like when I'm talking about the book's lore, because I'm sure you're gonna have like some people like they're like bigger FNAF fans. There's always a bigger FNAF fan. The ones I'm specifically talking about, especially, is like the Silver Eyes trilogy. That's like kind of like the big three in my opinion.
Okay.
So those actually like kind of give some context to the beginning, like the first, I want to say the first 2-3 games. It kind of sets up the world of like what was going on, how the disappearances started, and then more importantly, like it was like so much stranger than just like shoving kids into suits or shoving people into suits. Like I think there was one where this guy, this kid, sorry, spoiler alert. I think there was one where a kid literally became an animatronic. I'm talking like lost body parts and became an animatronic.
Oh my gosh.
Are you talking about like the puppet?
That one was.
Forgive me. I know nothing.
I believe she's called the Marionette, and there's a callback to that Marionette in the actual movie. If you've ever seen the movie, there's a suit that one of the characters, I won't say who, but one of the characters gets like threatened to be shoved into, and that marionette looking mask is what is like on the front of that cover.
Yeah, I haven't seen the movie. All I know is that Matthew Lillard's in it and my mother loves it.
I love Matthew Lillard. But yeah, like kind of like getting context and like I would like, to be honest, I went in thinking the books were gonna suck because I don't think I've ever read a book that was like about a video game that I actually enjoyed. And these were actually like compelling stories because they weren't just like it was like stories about stuff that was going on off screen, quote unquote. Like it was beyond just the game itself.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You bring up an interesting point of like, I think aside from Ready Player One, although I don't know if you would consider that about a video game or more just a world where video games are super prevalent. I don't think there's ever been a book about a video game that I've ever really enjoyed, but that's just me. How deep does the lore go? You started talking about books and you blew my mind away because all I knew was that there was a movie and there were video games.
Oh my god.
How much lore is there?
So I have a bookshelf's worth that's just FNAF. My husband makes fun of it. It's literally just an entire bookshelf because it goes all the way from the very beginning to like a little because when you get dropped into the first game, the pizzeria has been shut down for a hot minute. So the book series itself actually goes a little bit backwards, so you can kind of get the build up to when the first game actually starts. So
Okay.
you get a little bit of world building back there on the back end. But then I think that there's like the series I believe is still going on. It goes like right through Security Breach and everything, which was interesting because I literally was reading I was reading the books for fun because I liked them and they were spooky and I like, it was giving like a step up from the Goosebumps novels, Like
Right.
I had read all those and it was like kind of like, in that nostalgic way. I was like, oh, these are like creepy and kooky stories. But what really compelled me to actually like pick up, like quote unquote, pick up the sticks and play was I believe it was in Security Breach Ruin, because I had played a few games before that and I was like, okay, that was fun, but like I had watched them get played through. But in Ruin, I remember that they brought in the character the Mimic, and I literally had like my mouth was agape because that is a direct reference to the books. Like nothing to do with in-game. It was complete
Ooh.
lore that was built from the books. So my mouth was agape.
I was gonna ask, is there anything that has like transferred from the books into the game specifically? And that actually just answered it. But like, is there anything else other than the mimic that has been like either teased in the game or like Easter eggs or anything like that that you're aware of?
Oh yeah, plenty. There were this is kind of like a little fun one. There's a dog animatronic called Fetch that was kind of like, like it's like an animatronic dog. It's got like really crazy teeth, all that stuff. And they actually like put it, I forget what game they put the suit in, but they put his suit in a random game and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Fetch."
That's pretty cool to have
Yeah.
like those worlds kind of intertwined together.
Yeah, and I've noticed it more so because I know that I believe that Scott stepped away from like and Steel Wool came in for like the games specifically. And I've noticed that the lore has gotten way more, like if you compare the very first game to like Secret of the Mimic, which just came out, which in my opinion is like literally probably top 2, if not the best FNAF game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, the lore is just there. Like the lore is there. Like the first one, yeah, you could get to it, but it's very much like Steel Wool is trying to bring the books into the games because it's already there, You don't have to bring everything, but the content's already there.
Right, like that world has been already established and all of the like books have kind of elaborated on that. So it's just a simplicity of like transferring one to the other because it already kind of coincides with each other.
Exactly. And it's not like an exact retelling, but like Secret of the Mimic, I was literally shook like the whole time because it was literally like the way that they made the mimic in the game was exactly how I had like thought of it in my head. And they kind of teased it in Security Breach Ruin at the very end. But it was more of like a shock value thing, like, oh my gosh, it's the big bad, quote unquote. But in Secret of the Mimic, to actually hear, like, you can literally hear it mimicking voices, and you have to listen closely to hear if it has like a metallic twang. Otherwise, you don't know if it's the mimic talking.
That's terrifying. That's some
Wow.
SCP shit.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, well, Vixey, can we rewind real fast? So,
Sure.
do you know, way back before the first game even was made, do you know what inspired Scott Cawthon to make Five Nights at Freddy's? And if so, can you tell us that story?
I don't know what inspired him. However, I do know. So one of the characters, the animatronics, is Bonnie, the purple rabbit. I do know, and this is just because like there's a bunch of fan games, okay, surrounding FNAF on top of it. But Scott was terrified of this purple rabbit. Like it was like his nightmare fuel. So I know for a fact that that was like an animatronic that came in that was like quote unquote like directly, like I'm not saying the rest weren't from his brain because they were obviously, but that one was like a complete iteration of like I guess
Pure
his
nightmare.
childhood. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, I was talking about, have you ever heard of Chipper and Sons?
No, I haven't.
Ooh. So guys, before Scott Cawthon even thought of FNAF, he was still a game developer. He would make all kinds of games. One of those games was called Chipper and Sons Lumber Company, and it was like a kooky puzzle game, but he had 3D rendered animals, kind of like in FNAF, and critics were panning the game because they were like, "Man, these animals that you made look like horrifying animatronics." And he leaned into that with FNAF, and now it's a hit.
He
Oh yeah, I'm
hardcore
looking
leaned
at it
into that.
now. Yeah.
Yeah, kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's terrifying. The beaver is terrifying.
But that's all where it came from, the idea.
It's so cool. It's like so cool that something like that, like it like just a simple, hey, this really freaked me out came.
Yeah, totally.
That's pure nightmare fuel.
Yeah, it's the dead eyes for me.
It
love it.
even looks almost like Freddy. Like I'm looking at a side by side on Google Images, and Freddy and I'm assume that's Chipper. They look one and the same.
Yeah, you can definitely see the inspiration.
Yeah, you can.
Kind of looking at it and like seeing that like because that makes sense because in FNAF 1 the animatronics are freaking terrifying to look at. But what I
Yeah.
kind of like about the second one is like the toy animatronics are like quote unquote cute. I kind of like that he tried to make them like they're still spooky. But if you look up the toy animatronics, they are not like I guess in my opinion they're not as scary if that makes sense.
No, they're
Yeah.
all pretty cutesy from what I've seen.
Yeah, and then he's like, no, fuck you. Here's the withered animatronics.
Yeah, but they were the instances where like Toy Bonnie loses or Toy Chica loses her beak, and then some of them they lose their eyes or they go all black. That was kind of creepy.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. My favorite thing that stayed throughout the series is the silver eyes that happen because at least in the book universe, when they have silver eyes, that means that they're possessed by a child and that the child is like quote unquote possessing or currently in control. So yeah, so when you see an animatronic that has like those silver eyes at you, it's like sentient and it's like the coolest thing ever. When you're able to see it go from like just like an animatronic just walking around to like sentient like silver eyes agape at you, if that makes sense.
That's
Yeah, that's
wild.
cool.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. I could talk about it all day.
So, explain game-wise. Explain how the story kind of takes place, because I know some of them have mini games that are based on like the what happened in the past and stuff. What is like the definitive storyline for FNAF as someone who's never really played them and only vaguely remembers watching?
So, like, I mean, like, the general, like, premise of the game is that Five Nights at Freddy's or not Five Nights at Freddy's, but Freddy's Pizzeria is derived from Fredbear's Diner. Fredbear's Diner was, like, the OG by FNAF. So, at Fredbear's, they were doing, like, the animatronic suit, kind of, but they were wearing the suits. That's where the spring locks come in. So, you had the characters, like, the Yellow Rabbit, which is, like, Spring Bonnie, would be worn by William Afton, and then his partner, Henry, also wore the spring lock suits. So, the whole theory, I guess, because it keeps, like, it evolves, which I love. So, Henry is the person, like, the proprietor of the suits. He's the one that, like, kind of knows the ins and outs of the suits. And then William's like your sales guy, okay? He's the let's make this a marketable plushie, let's do all this shit, right? So eventually, William Afton, everybody knows this purple guy, he's the maniacal murderer, right, in FNAF. How this happens is he essentially takes over Fredbear's, turns it into Freddy's Pizzeria. And at the Freddy's Pizzeria, what he does is, I mean, like, essentially there's murders happening, right? Eventually the police catch on. They can't find where these kids are, but they complain. If you look at, like, the notes, because sometimes there's notes, sometimes there's little snippets in the newspaper at the very beginning of the game. It'll be like, oh, employees complained about a stench or whatever around the animatronics. So the theory is that he stuffed these kids in these suits, and
God.
yeah. And yeah, it's pretty bad. But eventually what happens is William Afton actually gets stuck and spring locked into his suit. So these spring locks are extremely sensitive, and if one of them gets set off, it can essentially, like, I don't know why I think of it like this. It's like it staples the animatronic in you. I don't know how else to explain
it stabs it into you, like the
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah. So he literally, when he's called Springtrap, right? You see that yellow rabbit that's fucking terrifying. That's him. And he's like a living corpse inside of this guy. He's, I call him Peepaw because he's so fucking old and gross. But yeah, that's like the beginning lore. And then you get into, like, if you want to get like into it, once the place is shut down, you can go into, like, if you've watched gameplay of Sister Location, that is an entirely different pizzeria, but what they did is they, like, the main character, which is like literally this animatronic freaks me the fuck out, and it's Circus Baby. Have you seen her?
Oh God, yes. Okay, you're bringing back old memories that I had repressed. Like, yeah,
That bitch is
that's the
terrifying.
redheaded one, right?
Yes.
The terrifying redheaded one that, like, I want you to free me.
Yes, she's fucking terrifying. So she's like the first animatronic, I want to say, that I saw that was specifically made for, like, killing kids, right? Because you've got like, yeah, it's awful. Like, it's meant to lure you in, and then literally, like, you remember the scoop room?
Mm-hmm.
Where they get fucking scooped. It's terrible. Yeah, so in that sister location, that's like an actual, like, I don't know, like that it's like a rebrand that's really fucking bad. Like, they're like, we're definitely not the same, by the way. We're definitely not the same. We're way safer.
And no, we're definitely not the same. We're just trying to, like, streamline killing kids.
Yeah. This is it. But yeah, so I think the best way to describe like the future FNAF games is the Freddy's Pizzeria Corporation keeps trying to rebrand, or like in Security Breach they straight up are just like, hey, we're way safer now, blah 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 blah. But what stays the same is that those wizards, like the OG animatronics and all of the ghost children that are in there, are literally still a part of that corporation, or still a part of Fredbear Entertainment or Fazbear Entertainment. So it's interesting because they have literal skeletons in their closet. So it like all comes to a head in Security Breach, where essentially you have to, like, Springtrap is literally like in, like, Peepaw's literally in the basement, right? He's been revived because this guy literally, I swear, he has literally died like at least like 80 million times, but always comes back. That's his whole thing, is like, oh, I always come back. And I'm like, will you please die?
Is Security Breach the one that had the like 80s vibe to it?
Yeah.
Or am I thinking of a different one?
Yeah, that's it. And it was like the first like more open world one. Like it was not just like staring at monitors the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah, which is cool, which is really cool.
Right. Part of my brain feels like that would have, like, I don't know, in the timeline of things, my brain is like, oh, it looks way older, like, or the vibe is way older, so wouldn't it have been placed before like the older ones, or does it actually, like, story wise take place after all the other mainline games?
Story-wise, I believe that it came after all of those games because it's like a culmination of everything. And because if have you seen gameplay of Security Breach? I'm about to fucking spoil this shit.
A little bit of it. All I remember is that you can climb inside of Freddy's chest to hide from the rest of the animatronics.
Oh yeah. So, fun fact, that big pizzeria, like that superplex, is literally built on top of the original pizzeria.
What?
Yeah, so there's a whole scene under, like, where you literally keep going, you go in an elevator and it's like, God, I'm going down, 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 down. And eventually you get to the entrance to the OG pizzeria.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's really cool. And like there's like an amalgamation of all of the animatronics, like old ones, and they're in this like blob state. And it's like the craziest thing ever to watch because it's like you see parts from like the first one, the second one, all these different things, all in this pit. Like they've just been here like the whole time.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, for sure. But in Security Breach at the end, allegedly, I say allegedly because I don't fucking know when Springtrap will actually die. Allegedly.
Never.
Yeah, allegedly you burn him.
You never know.
Allegedly.
He could be here right now. We wouldn't know.
Yeah.
He's in your walls.
God, please don't. No.
He's in your fucking walls.
I take it back.
But yeah, that's like kind of my shitty rendition of what's happened.
Hey, it's a better rendition than I could have given because half of my facts would have been just straight up wrong from trying to remember videos between MatPat and fucking Markiplier.
I got you.
So I know that they also had like VR games as well, the Help Wanted ones.
Mm-hmm.
How did those? I don't know if you know off the top of your head. How do those how does that get taken into account in terms of the story?
So I'm gonna go off the most recent Help Wanted because I remember it the best. So that Help Wanted is really, really cool because you're playing the games like normal, right? And sometimes you get like crumbs of extra stuff. Like I believe you like run into like Glitch Trap or something, which is like a virus version of Springtrap. Okay, he's like literally a digital version of him. But what's really cool about Help Wanted 2, again, one of those moments that I was like, what the fuck? Who thought of this? That's so crazy. Is you go to the back, okay, and there's this game called Princess Quest. The Princess Quest game is all about a girl named Vanessa, who essentially she's a security guard, okay, at some point. I'll say in Security Breach is a good one. So she's the one that's like, Freddy, you're supposed to be on lockdown. Like, that's her.
Right.
And what happens with her is she actually becomes corrupted by Glitch Trap and turns into Vanny, who's like the dancing bunny girl that's like a murderer, like kind of like a mini Springtrap in a way. But what's interesting about Princess Quest is that's like it's the like little mini game and arcade game that you can play. and it shows you like what happened to Vanessa and her corruption and stuff like that. And what's really cool is you go to this back room in Help Wanted 2. It's got Princess Quest, and it's also got this sign that is talking about the Vanny mask. So I believe that's in the Security Breach Ruin, where you have like the engineers wear this mask, okay, to be able to see like augmented reality and fix shit or something like that. I don't know why they do it, but they do.
Okay.
And I don't know why, but they do. But
Valid.
I remember watching, I think it was Markiplier that was like, wait a damn minute. And it doesn't give you a prompt to do this, but he pressed the key that usually in Security Breach Ruin would take off your mask. And he pressed it and it worked. And you were in the old pizzeria. You were in this fucking dilapidated piece of shit pizzeria that originally looked like a brand new, like you were in a brand new pizzeria or whatever. So you were actually in like this dilapidated fucking room. And it was like the craziest thing. Cause I was like, holy shit, like just like different dynamics like that. Cause Help Wanted, the first one was really fun, but I don't want to say it didn't tie in games because it did. But Help Wanted 2, I'm like, oh shit, that's like old game mechanics from Ruin that they were like, let's put this in here as like a little Easter egg, a little treat, so they can see.
You thought you were in this nice building, but haha, you're really just kind of in a shithole.
Yeah, exactly. And I just thought it was cool to bring like kind of like do callbacks from previous games, because like sometimes I've seen that and sometimes I haven't in other game series. Like sometimes you get a callback, sometimes you don't. But it was cool to see that mechanic get used again because it was cool in the game.
Yeah, that's interesting because I thought the Help Wanted games were just like meta horror. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like the whole premise, and correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
but the whole premise is Fazbear Entertainment has this game that you're testing to help rebuild their image. So it's like a horror game about a horror game,
For sure. Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Definitely the vibes I would have gotten off of the first one.
Yeah, just so I didn't know the lore went deeper than that.
Yeah,
The-
yeah,
The
yeah.
lore goes deep.
The lore's Lauren.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This FNAF is the Mariana Trench of lore.
It's kind of true though.
And I will say that something that like I think makes it successful is that, and I was trying to think before this this episode that you guys are recording. I think what makes mascot horror like because obviously it's popular to try and like replicate FNAF, right? Or replicate the feeling or something. I think what makes FNAF something that resonated is that it wasn't so rigid in what was possible, if that makes sense. Like the lore could, like all of the theories that came out of it is because like I think the way like the ability to theorize, I think, is what made it so popular. Like, holy shit, look at all these different theories I have about this game without any extra lore other than, you know, this newspaper clipping we got in the beginning and the phone guy. You know what I mean?
Right. Like look at all the videos that Matt Pat was able to make over the course of like all of his career involving just FNAF alone, and literally taking tiny little scraps of things that you would not have made like a second, you wouldn't have given it a second look to, but then like looking at the overview of the entire, you know, world of FNAF, it's just like this tiny little thing is a callback to this game, and this game like fully like complements this one, and it's kind of crazy to see how much detail was put into that world. And it's very hard. I've realized, looking, like I was doing a little research into some mascot horror games, it feels like it's very hard to kind of recreate how that felt and the amount of love that was given to it.
I agree. And I think that because I was also looking at mascot horror games, and I mean, you've got like, I don't know, you've got some that are, sorry to the people that like this game, but you've got like people that play like Garden of Banban just because it's bad. And like, it's like,
It's true.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they play it because it's bad, and you play the new one because you're like, how bad is this one? How much does this one make sense? Like, like I couldn't tell you the lore at all. I couldn't even tell you. I don't know what a Banban is. I don't know what a Garten is. I don't know. But then I look at games. I played the demo of Indigo Park, and it was the first time since FNAF I had been like, wait, this is something that resonates. The developer, Unique Geese, first of all, highly recommend just like checking him out in general. He's really cool. But his game Indigo Park. I mean, the furry. Like, it helps that I'm a furry, but the main character, or like the main, I want to call him a protagonist because I love him, is a computer AI in the form of a mascot raccoon named Rambly, Rambly the raccoon. And what I liked about it is that I could tell it was very heavily inspired by like if Disney World was shut down, you know what I mean? Like if it was completely dilapidated, shut down, and neglected. And what the spin on the mascots was, because I'm so used to like the animatronic stuff, right? You're used to all the animatronics and all that stuff for mascot horror. What's interesting about this one is when I played the demo, I was pretty convinced that they were actually like modified animals. Like they were actual animals. They were not like animatronics at all. Like they didn't have the metallic look to them or anything like that. It was the strangest thing. I was like, these literally look like animals that have gone wild since being neglected or whatever. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what is the premise of that game? You said it was Indigo
Park.
Indigo Park.
Yeah.
Explain it a little bit.
So
Because I think I've seen it, but
yeah.
I haven't. Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't think there was actually, and it's not like, okay, this is what I like about it. It's not trying to set up the same way as Five Nights at Freddy's, because in the very beginning, you are, as like your character is interested in looking at like abandoned theme parks and just abandoned buildings and stuff. So really,
Oh yeah.
all you know is that you remember Indigo Park as a kid, and you don't really know why it shut down. I believe. I haven't played it in a while, but I'm pretty sure you don't know why it shut down, but you're going there because it's abandoned. That's it. Like there's no other, like there's not like, oh, it's gonna be
Nothing else behind it.
yeah, which I think is really cool. I'm like, that's pretty ominous.
I mean, and that also can resonate with a lot of people because I myself love like abandoned buildings, abandoned like places and stuff, and I've always wanted to go explore them. And there's a place back home in Missouri, shout out to Branson, called Celebration City that was so there's like two theme parks in my hometown. One was called Silver Dollar City, and the other one was called Celebration City. And Celebration City was kind of closer towards like a 50s, 60s vibe. I could be getting it wrong. I'd have to look it up, but it was such a cool place, and it just had trouble competing with Silver Dollar City, even though it was a little bit more out of town. And they ended up closing it, but like everything that was there ended up staying just sitting there for years. I think they finally bulldozed it down, but it took them until like 2011 or 2012 to finally get rid of the wooden roller coaster that had been there, so it was just rotting and decrepit. Like they still had all of the storefronts that like you could see people had gone in and explored. Like there's actual videos of people going in there and checking it out. So like the idea of wanting to explore an abandoned amusement park just kind of, that vibe just hits me, and I can totally see it being like just kind of that sounds like a cool game. You wouldn't need to have much premise behind it to be like, okay, yeah, I'm down.
Really interesting.
Yeah, it almost reminds me of I don't know if you guys were into creepypastas way back when, but
Yeah.
there was one called Abandoned by Disney about this guy that goes to, it was like an abandoned treasure island resort.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's all I can think about whenever I hear about Indigo Park, because it's the same sort of thing. I mean, they find like, abandoned mascots. The twist obviously isn't the same, but it's so reminiscent of it. It's kind of funny.
Actually, now that we're talking about it, I'll send both of you guys the videos that I'm thinking of for Celebration City, because it really is like, in order to be able to like properly explain it to you guys, you'd have to see what it looked like. It was very much like an art deco, like a lot of bright blues and greens, think closer towards like, I don't know, maybe like a sock hop, or like those old drive-in diners where they would have
Yeah.
roller skating waitresses
It's
and
like
stuff that
Grease.
would bring like your shakes and stuff. Huh?
I said it's like Grease.
Yeah, it's like Grease. Very much. Like, but it really is just Abandoned by Disney, I think, is what got me into all of that stuff. So that's kind of cool that you bring that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was an interesting game, and I think that the organic way of like, oh, I just wanted to come to this park because I'm looking at, I'm interested in abandoned buildings. I'm like, oh, that's cool. But also what's really cool is the interaction system is, if you've gone to Disney World before, or if you know what I'm talking about, to get into the park, you use a magic band. It's like your admission pass. It's like a little bracelet.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you use to get around the park. You're assigned
That's
one
cool.
and given one, and it's the coolest. It's just a cool little mechanic, like very heavily Disney inspired, but I just think it's cool to put it in this game because I'm like, okay, well, that's a mechanic that is, relatively new. I haven't seen before, so yeah, I like it. I like it.
That's cool. Now, there are other games that do like the mascot, quote unquote mascot horror really well without kind of like giving into the Five Nights at Freddy's, because there's a lot of Five Nights at Freddy's clones where they literally just try to copy and paste the gameplay mechanics and stuff, and they just change what the characters are. But one that I know that you've enjoyed because you streamed it recently was Bendy and the Ink Machine.
My God.
I would consider that part of the mascot horror, even though it's kind of based on like a Disney-esque character coming to life. But go ahead and give us your experience with that game, because I loved watching you play it.
Oh my God. I literally loved that game. It was fun. Like I was equally, and that's what I like about mascot horror, I think. Like I could play a game like Outlast because I want to get the piss scared out of me, right? But
Right.
like I like mascot horror because it's like silly goofy time, but also like I get a little spooked. You know what I mean? Like there were parts in Bendy in the Ink Machine, like Coda knows, where I was like actually spooked and I went, oh, like, oh God, fuck. But
Oh God.
yeah.
Where are you there?
Yeah, or I'd be like, test the mechanics of like, is he gonna follow me if I go right behind him? Yep, okay, never mind.
Let me just sneak up behind this guy, try to get right around him. Oh, and he turned right around and stared directly into my soul.
Yeah, I was like, and that's not happening. But Bendy and the Ink Machine is like, again, it's a mask. I would also consider that mascot horror. Bendy's very much the mascot, But I like that it's also completely different because it focuses on the animation studio, like the hyperfixation on an animation studio that got taken over by this ink, and now they literally live in an inky alternate world. That's really cool and really different, and I really love those games. And the new game that is coming out, it's based on Boris the Wolf, who is, I love him, he's my little guy. That game's coming out in August, and I'm looking forward to seeing how it intertwines with the rest of the games that have come out so far.
Hell yeah. Sorry, my brain just kind of stopped for a second because I was thinking about all of like literally all of the jump scares that you dealt with, where it was just, fuck. Shit.
I literally
why do you keep doing this?
I literally deal with jump scares like the weirdest ways on stream. Like
like some of them you're just so chill, like, okay, and nope, we're turning right around. And then some it's like literally just like almost like jump out of your seat, like, oh my God, that scared me.
Yeah, and sometimes I like the ones that you just know are coming. Like when I am walking past, like I remember this in fucking Bendy. You would walk past a locker that originally you could just search, but then it was like, oh, press E to hide. And I'm like, why do I need to do that?
It's always those
Priming
mechanics in games. Yeah, it's always those mechanics in games. Like even in like Amnesia and stuff like that, where you're just like, press E to hide. Why do I need to hide? What is in this game that I need to hide from? Like you haven't even fully gotten into it, and then you're like, okay, now my heart rate's going up because I'm like, what am I trying to avoid now?
Exactly.
And then sometimes they just dick you over and they like wait until like, halfway through the first act to finally be like, oh yeah, by the way, here's this crazy thing. Go ahead and run.
Right, exactly. I was just thinking too, speaking of like animation and artists, I think that another thing or concept that makes or breaks a successful mascot horror game is, you want your game to look good, but also like if the art community is into your game, that is essentially like free exposure. If they're making Five Nights at Freddy's, if they're making their own animatronic OCs, you have made it. Like If you
Oh,
go
100%.
if you go to like Indigo Park, okay, if you go to their Discord, because I follow Unique Geese because I really like that game. I'm excited for it to come out. There's an entire thread of people that have made their own characters, like self-insert OCs that worked at Indigo Park. And I think that if you are able to resonate so much with your audience that they want to self-insert themselves like into the game universe, then you have a pretty sustainable game, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, you've definitely made it the moment that your fan base starts like self-inserting themselves into that universe.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say out of all of them? Because I'm assuming you've played most, if not all of the games.
Yes.
What would you say is your favorite one, and what would you say is your least favorite one? And for the least favorite, you can explain why. You don't necessarily have to explain for the most favorite. If you want to, you're more than welcome to. But I want to know why you hate the one that you hate.
Let me think. I could talk. Man, that's hard because it's like it's not that I hate it. Like I don't necessarily hate any of them.
That's fair.
But compared to all the games that go forward with them, like the rest of the games after the first one, they're just like a step up every single time for me. So I would say like I would replay the first one for nostalgia purposes, but it's not my favorite.
That's totally fair.
Yeah, and it's I'm like this is what started it all. I love it, but also like I would pick other games over it.
Right, like
It's valid.
there's a reason why a lot of people will pick like the sequel to a game over the first one, because the first one was like what got it started, what got it off the ground. But then a lot of the times the second one comes in, improves the mechanics, improves the graphics and stuff, and that's why people will love like Banjo-Tooie over Banjo and Kazooie, like stuff like that. So like that's a totally valid reason why the first one might not be your top favorite.
Yeah, for sure. I would say that my favorite one, that's so hard. My favorite one probably it's a tie between Sister Location and Secret of the Mimic, and it's because they're so lore heavy.
That is
That's valid.
100%
Sister
fair.
Location, I will say, is the one that freaked me the fuck out the most, though, because Circus Baby is legitimately terrifying. Kudos
Absolutely terrifying.
kudos to that voice actor because I was thoroughly and completely freaked the fuck out.
I read somewhere, and it could be complete BS, but I read somewhere that for the second movie they're going to be including Sister Location.
Well, that's good.
And
That's good to know because I'll pee my pants live.
if they have her in there, it's an immediate nope. Like Five Nights at Freddy's is still on my list of things to watch, but like if the second one involves Sister Location and involves involves her, I'll be like, all right, I'm just gonna not I'll skip over those parts because fuck no, that was terrifying.
Oh my god, yeah. But Sister Location I loved because it was like, I don't know, like it felt like a full send, if you will, of all the lore, all of the like nitty-gritty, like the like it was already dark, right? But this is
Right.
literally at the end, your character literally gets scooped and they wear you like a suit. Like it's insane, right?
Like everything that made the original terrifying is cranked up to 11.
Yeah, it's like, okay, well now they're gonna actually wear you as a suit. Now you're the animatronic, in a sense.
Yeah,
It's
Freaky.
that's terrifying.
yeah. So I was like that freaked me out, but it in a good way.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Vixey, I gotta ask,
Mhm.
do you have a favorite FNAF song?
Well, every time I try to think of one that's not Jack Black singing Five Nights at Freddy's, that's where I want to be.
That's a good answer, though.
But I will say, man, hold on, I have to look now. I literally
Is that the Tombstone one? The
Living Tombstone?
Yeah, the Living Tombstone. Is that the one? The Five Nights at Freddy's. That's where I want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He does a really good rendition of it.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I'll have to see that.
Yep. He goes like Five Nights at Freddy's. That's where I want to be.
That's amazing.
But my favorite is probably, I think it's by JT Music. It's Join Us for a Bite. That's probably one of my favorite ones.
Yes, that one's my favorite too.
Oh, I love it so much. That song is so good.
Dang, let's go.
But yeah, I like that, and I like Secret of the. I was gonna say Sister Location and Secret of the Mimic. I like Secret of the Mimic because it literally goes all the way all the way back, all the way the fuck back, like before Five Nights at Freddy's happened. Like it's like a major fucking prequel, and
Whoa.
it's so fucking cool. Like it's old timey, like it's a really really cool game, and they did they did the mimic so beautifully because he literally like it's such a creepy entity. Like literally, it made me think about all the other games. I'm like, did they put that metallic tone in anybody else? Like any of the phone calls, any of that, like where it was just the fucking mimic fucking with me.
That'd be kind of creepy if that was the case.
Yeah, which we got like a taste of that in Ruin, but it was creepy. Like in Secret of the Mimic, if you have not seen any gameplay of it, it can literally switch animatronic suits, so you don't know where it is. You're in a costume shop, like a
no.
giant costume factory, so all these giant mascot outfits are around you, and you don't know which one is the mimic. He could be
That's
anywhere.
wild. That's wild.
But it's a really, really cool game. I really enjoyed it because it was like almost a refresh. Like it was scary, but also it was like a homage to like
Right.
all, like you got to see the inspiration for the animatronics that are in all of the games. Like you got to see the OG designs, which is so cool because they were so different.
That is pretty cool
Yeah.
to see what it started as and what it's become.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool. I highly recommend at least watching like gameplay of it just because it's so different.
Now, have you played any of like the offshoots that don't I mean, they do deal with it, but it's mostly just the IP in itself, like the one that's I don't know a whole lot of it, so forgive me if I'm speaking incorrectly about it. But the one that's basically like a almost like a roller coaster tycoon or like a Freddy the Fazbear Pizzeria Tycoon or something
Oh,
like
the
that, where you're
pizzeria
like,
simulator?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, the one where you're like you're collecting different, doing mini games, collecting money and buying these different like animatronics and shit.
Yeah, that's in
Have
my
you played any of those ones?
Yes, I have played that one specifically. It is one of my favorite ones to play. Pizzeria Simulator is actually, I believe, hang on, I literally have it in my Steam store, so I can look this up. It's actually a game by Scott, so it's official.
It is official.
It's an
Okay.
official game. It catches you off. It catches you by surprise because you're literally playing a
Mhm.
pizza sim game, which is really fun and wholesome, and you love that. But then all of a sudden, it throws you into FNAF, and it's like also there's vents, and you need to make sure no animatronics come in and kill you.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, and you're like yippee.
Yeah, and
I
Coda, you'd be surprised with even though that's like kind of an offshoot game, there's actually a lot of lore that contributes to the story.
Yes, there is.
Really?
Yeah,
It's one of those ones that it's like if I had to give like a solid you have to play it, like that's one of them. It's like you should really play that to really understand the story.
I definitely don't have most of them either sitting in my wish list or sitting in my cart for me to buy the next time they go on sale on Steam so that I can play them.
My gosh, I would love to
That's
watch you
definitely
play,
not what I have.
Coda. I would love to watch you play.
If I played it, I guarantee you it would be during the day because I am a goddamn baby when it comes to fear. Like I don't do horror games very well. I like back in 2019, maybe 2020, I had tried to play Amnesia
Mhm.
on stream, and I got like 5 minutes in. I heard a sound, and I went and I hid in the cupboard, and then I was like, "All right, we're changing games, guys," and we went to Rocket League and never went back. I own so many horror games. I own like, Layers of Fear, Outlast, Outlast 2. I've got a few that are more like offshoot ones. I think there's one called One Leaves that's on the Xbox, but like I have a bunch of different horror games and I'm always buying them going like, yeah, I'll play these, and then I start them up and I'm like, no, I'm just a little bitch. I forgot about that. So like if I ever do stream them, it will be during the fucking day, guaranteed, when there's light outside. I'm not doing that shit when the light's out.
Blame you, that's fine.
valid. Yeah.
I love horror, so
I don't I mean like I do old school horror very well. Not to derail the conversation too hard, but
Okay.
like I do like in terms of movies and stuff, I guess. We're talking like Friday the 13th or like Nightmare on Elm Street stuff. Like the old like not scary, but like for the time scary kind of stuff. The stuff that's like, oh, I could see that this would have been scary for someone in like the 80s. Like nowadays, it's more like, oh, I could see that wire there. I could see that prop there. Like you could tell that that was fake. Like the blood fountain from one of the I think it's the first Nightmare on Elm Street where Johnny Depp gets like killed in his bed and there's just a giant fountain of blood. Like it looks so fake, but it's like for the time it would have been absolutely terrifying.
Right.
So like that's my kind of horror. So like games that are kind of like playfully scary. Like I think I could do a playthrough of Bendy and the Ink Machine because while it's scary, it's also got kind of that like cutesy little vibe to it,
Yeah,
you
no, it's
know, from
goofy.
the character designs. It's goofy,
It's real goofy, but in a good way.
right? Well, I think we're getting closer towards the end, so I will ask you. We'll go ahead and go into some last questions real quick. We can go a little longer if we need to, but what if anything would you like to see in the next FNAF game if they were to like go off of viewer suggestions? Like, what's something that you would love to see either explored deeper or mechanics wise, what's something that you would like to see them bring to the next game?
Thought about this long and hard for a long time. And honestly, my pipe dream of a FNAF game that will never happen is I think it would be cool as fuck to have a co-op Five Nights at Freddy's game.
Ooh.
I
Ooh.
think it would be so cool if you got to play as like a group of kids, maybe exploring the Pizzaplex or something like that. I think it would be so cool to take a complete 180 and go more of a survivor route.
Okay, so
And
like
yeah,
security breach vibes almost.
almost.
Like
Yeah. I think it would be really cool to be able to play as, as kids and it's like maybe in Fazbear Entertainment's heyday or even just like as kind of the Indigo Park route where that you have like one person that's exploring an abandoned theme park, right? But maybe I don't know, maybe they're like YouTube creators or whatever, and they want to film their own, abandoned pizzeria stuff or whatever. I think that going a co-op route would be insane, but also a really cool way to play the game. I'm sure that, I mean, like, single player, obviously, you can get all of the Easter eggs and stuff, and I'm sure that there would be a place for that if somebody wanted to play it by themselves. But I think that a co op Five Nights at Freddy's game has a lot of potential just because of the lore of these kids getting taken, like, from seemingly right under adults' noses. Like, that's a really cool way to portray it, is if you're playing as a group of kids that are at the pizzeria and all of a sudden, kids start disappearing or your friend disappears
right,
and you're trying to
100%.
yeah, I think that'd be a really cool way to go.
I love that concept.
Yeah, I think that'd be really cool. I think it's totally different. I think it'd be like a fresh look at Five Nights at Freddy's. It would be something different. It's going to be controversial because, you can never make anybody happy when you have a large game fan base. But
It's kind of
I think
true.
it would
Kind
be
of true.
cool.
To be fair, I think it would be pretty popular, especially now with the announcement of the Dead by Daylight expansion with Five Nights at Freddy's, where
Mhm.
they have like the pizzeria as well as I believe the villain that you would play as or the killer is Springtrap.
Yes,
So
it
like
is. Yeah.
seeing how the popularity does with that, I think that that would be a good boost to like then shove a co-op Five Nights at Freddy's out there because I think that would kind of get people into like this would be a lot fun with more people playing it too. Like it would be extra terrifying hearing someone from across the pizzeria screaming in death,
I think
like
that the climate of horror games, it seems like a lot of people are into the co-op horror games right now. So I think that the climate is right for you to have a co-op or multiplayer horror game, FNAF game with
for
your
sure.
friends. So you can, because that the Dead by Daylight, like people are enjoying exploring the pizzeria together. I think that's a really cool concept that you can do. But yeah,
For sure.
that'd be my
Yeah.
that would be my pipe dream. I would love to see that. I think that'd be really cool.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Cubic?
What would I like to see for the franchise? That's a good question.
Yeah.
I think it would be cool. So again, like I said, I kind of have fallen off from the franchise since around the time that Ultimate Custom Night came out. So I know a lot more has happened since then. So if this has happened, someone say something. But I think it would be cool if you could play as an animatronic.
Would be really cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and you go on a killing spree.
I was gonna say, yeah, like going on a killing spree, that would be kind of
Or even trying to
oh,
recover your lost memories or something. That'd be cool.
that would be cool
Yeah.
too. Exploring the pizzeria, exploring little areas, and picking up lost memories and trying to figure out what happened.
Like imagine you're playing Five Nights at Freddy's 1, but you start from the stage and you have to try to get to the back. That would be really cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be really cool.
Play as the different characters. You could play as Freddy, or like
Yeah.
and distract with the or like
I wish.
have the
Press E
or
to
have-
har har har.
yeah, or have like unlock Foxy and then have like your little speed boost, and that would be kinda
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, each night could be a new animatronic. That could be really cool.
That would be cool. I think for me, now I know for a fact that this hasn't happened because it's so baked into the name of it being Five Nights. I'd like to kind of in a similar way of a co-op, explore it during the daytime. Like be able to see what it's like when they are not murderous animatronics and see how they're acting kind of in the pure daylight. Because there are some stories, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, where they were getting snatched up during the daytime too. The kids were. Like, so like it'd be cool to explore the pizzeria or whatever the building is during the daytime and see like what it looks like when there's a bunch of people around and what's see if there's like disappearances happening during or like get real up close and personal with those animatronics and be like, I know you're gonna try to kill me later, but right now you're my bitch.
Oh.
You
Oh wow.
know, like
They-
be able to get right up and close and personal with them and just be like, hi, hello. You can't do anything to me because there's people around, but like later, this is gonna come back to bite me in the ass.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it would be especially cool to see them from the eyesight eye line of a child because they are
Oh, yeah.
massive. Like even for an adult, they're massive, but like if they could put the perspective up to like you're a kid, like I think
Right.
that would make it so much more eerie and crazy. And I agree, Kodo. I think that'd be really cool. Because just kind of seeing them during the daytime and like you can see them like during the day they would malfunction or or they complain
Right.
about Chica smelling because she's always in the kitchen but she also has a dead body inside of her, all that
Right,
fun stuff.
like have a little voice line when you walk up to Chica that's like, "Oh, she smells kind of weird."
Yeah.
Like or have like these little Easter eggs that your character just kind of drops during the daytime walking around and seeing these characters. I feel
Yeah.
like it would be cool to have it in a similar I don't remember the name off the top of my head. I think it's called Alone in the Dark. It's a horror game where you're playing as this little kid who's kind of traversing the world. It's
What
practically
you're
a
talking about?
3-year-old
Yeah.
practically like a 3-year-old child or something like that. But like
Mhm.
having them at that line of sight where everything is just towering above you and like having to look up to see the face of these animatronics would be absolutely terrifying even during the day. Like
Oh,
no
agreed.
wonder kids were scared.
Totally.
Agreed, for sure.
But with that, I think that's go ahead.
I was gonna say, I will say, Coda, if you ever want to get like a little like a crumb of wanting to see what they are like during the day, one of the newer games, it's called Into the Pit. Yeah, it's actually based off of the book Into the Pit. But you actually get to explore as a kid during the day, but it's
Yeah.
in like a 16-bit format, which is cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
You got me wanting to explore them because I've seen like I said, I've seen different YouTubers watch them or play them, and I've seen bits and pieces on my own, and like a lot of like the little mini games that they had. I can't remember which one it would have been, and it might have been 4, where you're like exploring through the pizzeria as like one of the children before it gets taken in like this 16-bit or 8-bit kind of little mini game. Those were always kind of like, oh, that's cool to see. And it could have been in one of the different ones. I'm not sure if it was 4. You would know better than I would, Vixey, but they also had the ones where it was like trying to break the game for the Easter egg and stuff where you'd have to like jump
Yeah.
off out of the bounds and all that stuff.
Yeah, those So fun. I love those. I love those little tidbits. It just challenges you to look at the game beyond like
It all
what
just
is
seems like something
perceived.
I would
Yeah.
love. Yeah.
Yeah.
But with that, I think we're gonna go ahead and call it here. This has been a fantastic time. Go ahead and shout yourself out, Vixey. Tell people where they can find you at.
Oh my gosh. Well, first of all, thank you for letting me lore dump and just be a nerd about FNAF. I appreciate your time. I
We love having you
am
here.
I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I appreciate it. I am usually on Twitch like twice a week, maybe. It depends. I'm a full-time stay-at-home mom. I didn't even say that. I'm a mom. Uh, but you can find me at twitch.tv/VivaVixey. I stream art there. I stream horror games. That's pretty much the big two. Oh, and date everything because that's my hyperfixation right now. But you know,
Let's go.
we have fun there. We have fun there.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
You can also find her on, I believe it's Blue Sky.
Yes, you can find me on Blue Sky under VivaVixey. You can also find me on Twitter or X, whatever you want to call it. I'm also there as VivaVixey. I'm on both.
And this has been fantastic. I truly do appreciate you deciding to come and hang with us. Being a stay-at-home mom, I know is a little bit hard to kind of make things work scheduling wise. So I'm glad we got to get this, especially because I know how much you love horror games, and so this is one of those ones where it's like I can learn a lot from you in terms of this specific game series because it's something that would get me into the horror genre more. So it's been a blast. We always appreciate you having you here.
Yeah, thank you. Always down to talk about horror.
Hell yeah, we'll have to have you on another episode for something horror wise at some
Heck
point.
yeah.
Yeah.
But as always, if you guys have any questions, you can drop them in the comments below this video, or you can send them to or you can reply to the posts on the Blue Sky page, which should be Scuffed AF Pod, or you can send them directly to the email that I have, which is scuffedasfuckpod at gmail.com. That is SCUFFEDAFPOD at gmail.com. We'll be just basically compiling them for a while, and then at some point me and Cupic will probably go over them and talk about some of our favorite moments or whatever is posted in those comments. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye, everybody.